Very simple question, gentlemen. Stephen A., we begin with you.
Yeah.
Who needs it more, Baltimore or Kansas City?
Clearly the Chiefs, because they're in a tougher division. It's a byproduct of what first of all, we expect the Steelers to lose in Dublin, Ireland this weekend. We expect that defense in Minnesota to rain havoc. We get that part. When you look at the AFC West, it's about how the Chargers are looking right now, how big time they're looking, how they're looking like a viable Super Bowl contender and arguably the second best team in the entire damn conference. Of course, we're not going to just dismiss the Ravens, and we know what the potential is for the Chiefs to be once Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy both come back to join Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce. We expect their offense to be more formidable, free up Travis Kelce a little bit, who knows if he'll get going, and obviously spell for the defense to some degree. But we're still looking at them and we're saying, okay, we expect something from you, but you can't afford to lose this game because the Chargers ain't losing. Yeah. They're finding ways to win. They're undefeated. And Justin Herbert is looking otherworldly right now. And Jim Harbaugh seems to really have the pulse of him right now.
And let me tell you, this isn't just football. This is pride. This is legacy. This is about dynasties hanging in the balance. Because when Stephen A. Smith took that first take stage, he didn't hesitate for a second. He said flat out, the Kansas City Chiefs need this win more than the Baltimore Ravens. And the way he laid it out, it was hard to argue. Think about it. Kansas City, with Patrick Mahomes, the golden boy of the NFL, suddenly looking human. An offense that once looked unstoppable, now sluggish, out of rhythm, out of sync. And as Stephen A. put it, in the AFC West you don't get the luxury of stumbling. Not when Justin Herbert and the Chargers are out there looking like a Super Bowl juggernaut. Not when Jim Harbaugh is unlocking Herbert's full potential and making them look like maybe, just maybe, the second best team in the entire conference. But here's where Stephen A. really hit the nerve. The Chiefs can't afford to lose this one because the Chargers aren't losing. They're undefeated, they're rolling, and if Kansas City slips, that gap in the division could become a canyon. And for the first time in Mahomes' career, he could be staring at life as a wild card quarterback. Now tell me, do you really think Patrick Mahomes is built to play January football on the road? Sure, he's great enough to handle it, but he's never done it. He's never lived in that world. And Stephen A. said it clear, if Kansas City loses that AFC West crown streak, it ends at 9. Period. And when Cam Newton jumped in, he didn't just echo Stephen A. He doubled down. He looked at the Ravens and said, you got cushion. That AFC North? It's shaky. The Browns' defense might be elite, but their offense is inconsistent. The Bengals? Burrow's hurt. Pittsburgh? They can't run and they can't stop the run. The Ravens have margin for error. But Kansas City? Not in that shark tank of the AFC West. If the Chiefs stumble against Baltimore, we may be watching the collapse of a dynasty before our very eyes. But let's pause. What do you think? Who's under more pressure Sunday? Mahomes, fighting to keep a dynasty alive, or Lamar Jackson, fighting to prove he can deliver a full 60 minutes of dominant football? Drop your take in the comments. Because Cam Newton didn't hold back on the Ravens either. He turned it personal. He challenged them. He said, will the real Baltimore Ravens please stand up? And when you do, can you finally play 60 full minutes? Not 48, not 58, but 60. We've seen flashes of greatness from Baltimore. A dominant quarter here, a lockdown stretch of defense there. But then, it slips. A fumble, a blown coverage, a miscommunication. Something always cracks. And Cam's frustration was boiling over. Because on paper, the Ravens should be crushing everybody. But on the field, they're not. And Cam laid down the gauntlet. If Baltimore can't put together 4 complete quarters against a team like Kansas City, then don't talk to me about being contenders. Baltimore has the talent, but do they have the discipline? Now here's where it got real. Stephen came back swinging. He didn't just talk about who needs the win. He talked about what happens if they don't get it. And the picture he painted was brutal. For the Chiefs, losing this game doesn't just sting. It destroys the aura. It ends the run. 9 straight AFC West titles, gone. History rewritten. Patrick Mahomes, for the first time ever, living as a wild card quarterback. Playing January football in someone else's house. The dynasty, as we've known it, put on life support. For the Ravens, Stephen didn't flinch. He said if Baltimore loses, they're out of the Super Bowl conversation. Done. Finished. Not because they can't recover in the standings, but because of what it says about who they are. The Ravens have always been that team that shows up in the regular season, but folds in the postseason. If they can't take down a vulnerable Kansas City now, when will they? And Ryan Clark backed it up, saying Lamar Jackson is playing at an MVP level. But here's the problem. Nobody's talking about him as an MVP because the rest of the Ravens keep shooting themselves in the foot. Costly mistakes, fumbles, breakdowns. As RC said, you are what your record says you are. And Baltimore's record says they're inconsistent.
60 minutes of good football that we know the paper says that you're supposed to play. It's been a sense of utopia, a fantasy, or something that you just say like, yo, they are supposed to be crushing every single team. And when are they going to put it together? It's a fumble. It's bad defense, bad communication. It's this, it's that, it's that, it's this. But figure it out. And that's all I care.
This game is equally important to both of these teams. If the Kansas City Chiefs lose this game, the streak of AFC West championships end at 9. Period. It's canceled. It's done. Doesn't mean they can't make the playoffs as a wild card. Doesn't mean I want to play them in a playoff game. But they will not win the AFC West, which is a departure from everything that Patrick Mahomes has known his entire career. He does not know what it's like to be a wild card. He does not know what it's like on wild card week and have to play in somebody else's stadium. That is something foreign to him. Something he can handle? Absolutely. It's Patrick Mahomes, but it's not what we're used to.
But then it got heated because Stephen wasn't having it. He fired back that the details don't matter if the wins don't come. That famous line. Bill Parcells said it best. You are what your record says you are. And Stephen made sure to hammer it home. That's when the panel started clowning each other. RC talking about watching tape at home, his girl asking what he's doing, and him saying, I'm watching 4th and 1, I'm watching the pivot, I'm checking for consistency. Cam Newton and the rest of the table jumped all over him for that one. Laughs, jokes, and even a little heat. But underneath the jokes was the real question. Can the Ravens overcome their own mistakes? Can they actually prove they're not just a flashy regular season team, but a true contender? So let me ask you, do the Ravens choke under pressure, or are they just one mistake away from dominance? Because when you look at the Chiefs, the situation feels even scarier. Mahomes has never known life without control of the AFC West. He's never been a wild card. He's never had to fight uphill just to get into January. And as Stephen A. warned, if Kansas City loses this game, that's the reality he's about to face. And let's be honest, does anyone think Mahomes is ready for that? And before the segment wrapped, Cam and RC took it to a new level. They started breaking down Derrick Henry, of all things. His fumbles, his technique, how defenses are adjusting to him. Cam pointed out something few had noticed. Every fumble Henry's had has come in his left hand. A detail, but a damning one. Because now defenses aren't just trying to tackle him, they're punching at the ball. And as Cam said, once that weakness is exposed, the entire league comes for you. That's the same warning for both the Ravens and the Chiefs this Sunday. Their weaknesses are out there. Baltimore's inability to finish. Kansas City's lack of offensive rhythm. And just like defenders hunting Derrick Henry's football, the rest of the NFL is waiting to exploit it. This isn't just a Week 4 matchup. This is survival. This is legacy on the line. Let's not get it twisted. This isn't just Week 4. This is a test of character. This is a test of survival. This is a test of legacy. Stephen A. said it with fire in his voice. The Chiefs need this win more. Not because Baltimore isn't desperate, but because Kansas City's dynasty is on the line. 9 straight AFC West titles. An era of dominance that has defined Mahomes' career. All of it hangs in the balance Sunday night. And Cam Newton? He wasn't giving the Ravens a pass. He looked at Baltimore like a disappointed coach, asking, when are you finally going to play a full 60 minutes? The fumbles, the defensive lapses, the communication breakdowns. It's always something. And it's holding back a team that should be a juggernaut. The Ravens don't lose to opponents. they lose to themselves. And the Chiefs don't lose games. They lose dynasties. That's what's on the table. But here's the thing. Both teams are right on the edge of disaster. Let's paint the picture. Kansas City loses this game, their season shifts. That aura of inevitability, of Mahomes always finding a way, gets cracked. The Chargers are rolling, and Jim Harbaugh looks like he's turning Justin Herbert into a machine. If KC falls behind, it's not just one game. It's a hole they might not climb out of. And for Baltimore? Lose this game and you're exposed again. A roster loaded with talent, but a reputation that says, great in the regular season, unreliable when it matters most. And as Stephen A. reminded everyone, if they can't get it done in Week 4 against a wobbly Chiefs offense, why should anyone believe they'll get it done in January? So tell me, who do you trust less? The Chiefs' shaky offense or the Ravens' shaky discipline? Now, Ryan Clark brought the truth bomb. He said Lamar Jackson is playing at an MVP level. But nobody's giving him credit because everyone else around him keeps blowing opportunities. He's out there putting up performances that should win games. But football isn't about one man. It's about the collective. And as RC said, the collective isn't getting it done. And that's where the debate got spicy. Because Stephen wouldn't let the details distract him. He hammered it again. You are what your record says you are. Forget the highlights. Forget the flashes. Forget the excuses. If you're not winning, then none of it matters. But Cam wasn't buying it. He shot back that the tape does matter. That the details do matter. And when RC joined in with his story about studying 4th and 1 plays at home just to track consistency, the whole table broke down laughing. Cam roasted him, pointing out the awkward detail about his girl asking what he was watching, the way he slipped in that, hold on, bae, like a man caught up in film study when he should have been paying attention to something else. It was funny. It was lighthearted. But it was also a perfect metaphor. Because that's the Ravens. They're the team saying, hold on, bae, just give me a minute, while fumbling away wins they should lock up. Baltimore is the king of almost. Almost dominant. Almost consistent. Almost contenders. But almost doesn't win Super Bowls. And let's circle back to Kansas City. Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Nobody doubts his greatness. But he's human. And this is the first real time in his career where the walls feel like they're closing in. Travis Kelce is still great, but defenses are locking in on him. Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy aren't back yet. Hollywood Brown hasn't been enough to tilt the field. And without those weapons, the Chiefs' offense looks, dare I say it, ordinary. Stephen spelled it out. Once those guys return, KC might find its form again. But right now they're vulnerable. And in the AFC West, vulnerability equals death. So here's the million-dollar question. Do you believe Mahomes can carry this team until help arrives? Or will Week 4 be the game that proves even he can't do it alone? And let's not forget the little tangent Cam took us on with Derrick Henry. Some of you might have thought it was off topic. But it wasn't. It was a parable. Cam said every fumble Henry's had this year has come in his left hand. A detail. A crack in the armor. And once that weakness was exposed, the league pounced. Defenders stopped trying to tackle him. They started punching at the ball. That's what happens when teams see a weakness. They don't let it go. They attack it. They exploit it. They weaponize it. And that's exactly what's happening to both the Ravens and the Chiefs. Baltimore's weakness? Their inconsistency. Kansas City's weakness? Their sputtering offense. And you better believe every team in the AFC is watching, waiting, ready to punch at those cracks. Once the league smells blood, it never forgets. And right now, both the Chiefs and Ravens are bleeding. So here's where we land. This isn't just a Week 4 showdown. It's a battle for control of the narrative. For Kansas City, it's about holding on to their dynasty. For Baltimore, it's about proving they're more than just a flashy roster. Stephen A. Smith drew the line in the sand. Kansas City needs this win more. Cam Newton backed him up, but challenged the Ravens to finally rise. Ryan Clark exposed the truth about their inconsistency. Joe Fortenbaugh put the bow on it, saying if the Ravens lose, don't even mention them as contenders. That's not just a debate. That's a warning shot to the entire AFC. So now it's your turn. Who do you think needs it more? The Chiefs, fighting to save their dynasty? Or the Ravens, fighting to prove they're for real? Let us know in the comments, because this debate is far from over. And here's the cold, hard truth. Somebody's walking out of Week 4 exposed. Maybe it's Kansas City, with their dynasty slipping through their fingers. Maybe it's Baltimore, once again showing they can't finish what they start. But either way, the league will take note. And the rest of the season will never be the same. This isn't just Sunday football. This is survival. And when the dust settles, we'll know who's for real and who's finished. And that's going to do it for today's breakdown. If you love deep dives into NFL drama, dynasty debates, and the raw truth no one else will say, make sure you hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe right now to Gridiron Insights, your home for the most controversial NFL takes. Because trust me, we're just getting started.